From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, December the 21st, 2020. An Israeli woman was murdered in the West Bank in what is suspected of being a terror attack. 52-year-old mother of 6, Esther Horgan, left her home in the Jewish settlement of Tal Menashe yesterday for a run and failed to return home. Her body was found early this morning in a nearby nature reserve forest with signs of violence. A manhunt is underway. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tweeted that whomever was responsible would be brought to justice. He wrote, "The security forces will apprehend the murderer as quickly as possible, and we will settle accounts with him." And reports this evening that a gunman shot at or tried to shoot at a police post in Jerusalem's Old City near the Lion's Gate. Police say they returned fire, reportedly neutralizing the suspect. It appears at this time that no officers were hit. The terrorist's weapon, a makeshift submachine gun, was recovered at the scene. The far-right terrorist who tried to attack a synagogue in Halle, Germany, but after failing to gain entry, shot and killed 2 people outside the synagogue, has been sentenced to life in prison. A German court handed down the life sentence today in the attack, which took place on Yom Kippur of last year, with the judge calling the attack cowardly. Senior White House advisor Jared Kushner is in Israel. He took part in a tree planting ceremony today with Prime Minister Netanyahu, followed by a press conference with the Prime Minister, where Netanyahu thanked Kushner for his efforts regarding the recent peace agreements between Israel and a number of Arab countries like the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. He said Kushner reinforced American influence in the Middle East and in Middle East peacemaking. Tomorrow, Kushner and Israeli National Security Advisor Meir Ben-Shabbat will lead a U.S.-Israeli delegation to Morocco, the latest Arab country to normalize ties with Israel, to further discuss that agreement, and they will reportedly be taking an El Al flight, making it the first direct flight from Tel Aviv to Rabat. And Netanyahu received Israel's first coronavirus vaccine this weekend. The prime minister said he felt good and encouraged the Israeli public at large to follow his example. Israel is reportedly debating new COVID-19 restrictions as they continue to battle COVID cases and are concerned about a new strain of the virus in the United Kingdom. The cabinet is set to vote on barring all international travel to and from Israel and no entry for non-citizens to Israel. The New York Police Department's Hate Crimes Task Force is looking into anti-Semitic vandalism at a yeshiva in Bklyn, New York. Surveillance video shows 2 men spray painting a swastika on the side of Mesilas Beis Yaakov last weekend. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio called the incident despicable. Well, the longest-serving Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice, Jewish Judge Shirley Abrahamson, has died. Abrahamson served on the court for 43 years and was its first female Chief Justice. The late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg had said of Abrahamson, "Among jurists I have encountered in the United States and abroad, Shirley Abrahamson is the very best, the most courageous and sage." Abrahamson died Saturday of pancreatic cancer. She was 87. And Rutgers University said it will name a residence hall after Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who died in September from the same disease. The distinct building in Newark, now named Ruth Bader Ginsburg Hall, was home to the law school for decades, where Ginsburg taught from 1963 to 1972 on the subject of women's rights and gender equality. The New Jersey School's president, Jonathan Holloway, said, "When I think of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I hope future generations will understand her perseverance, her clear-eyed pursuit of justice and equity, and her care for those people who are often seen as voiceless or without history." Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, December the 21st. At 7 o'clock, it's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth, followed by the story of the Great Jewish Revolt against Rome in the 2nd century CE, led by Bar Kokhba, on episode 12 of The Jewish Story Explained. At 7:30, author Daphne Merkin reads excerpts from her romantic novel 22 Minutes of Unconditional Love and discusses themes of the book. At 8, it's an evening celebrating the winners of the 2019 National Jewish Book Award, including the author of the Jewish Book of the Year, Pamela Nadell, as well as Deborah Lipstadt, Barry Weiss, Robert Alter, and Joshua Cole with Andrea Miller. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with author Tuvia Tenenbaum on L'chaim. At 10, the Archbishop of New York, Timothy Cardinal Dolan, discusses the common ground between Judaism and Christianity with Rabbi Peter Rubenstein. And coming up next, it's Good Week, Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, December the 21st, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.